All right, guys, so it's day one of the Duralast Week To Wicked presented by CPP, and behind us is a...
Behind us, we got a 67 Chevy Nova. We've actually built a Nova before on the Week To Wicked series. That was a gasser. This is definitely a lot different.
Yeah, I think in the direction we're going with this one's gonna be more of a pro touring effect. You know, modern suspension, new front clip, bigger brakes. So, you know, this is something I want to stress to everybody. This is something you can do if you got, you know, simple hand tools, a jack, some jack stands, and an area and some time. This is all literally bolt-on stuff. So, that being said, we should probably get the CPP team in here and get to work.
Let's go.
All right, so for today, we're gonna disassemble everything underneath this car, suspension, brakes, and start installing all the new stuff. So by the end of the day, we should have front, rear, suspension, and all the brakes back on the car, less plumbing. Here. All right.
You got
Now we can go down.
There's a pry bar behind you. Louise, drop the lay spring and roll the cart out.
Up. Going up. Take the hood off now then, I guess, right?
Okay. All yours. Whoa.
Whoa.
Watch out. So what I'm gonna do here is mask off all around this bumper, on the paint, and then along the edge of the bumper. And the whole point of this is to not scratch the paint or the bumper or damage anything else that's pretty hard to find these days. And even if it was easy to find it, you don't want to scratch it up. You were just handling the harness and you're asking if those are plugged in?
Danny, this guy's crazy, bro.
Other side.
This one's already missing one, Danny?
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
It's you, Luis. That's now you.
Hold on.
We need the shims at the end.
There you go.
Careful, Danny, because it's on there, right? With the shim.
Shims and bolts
Dude,
are
I
back
got the
in place.
passenger's fender. Look at this. Not a scratch. See that tape? It's
You're gonna,
worthwhile.
yeah, you're gonna trip, fall. Okay, I got both out on this side, Danny.
Got one more.
Okay. Got it?
Are we reusing it?
No.
No,
huh?
Take over there. Go ahead. Okay, now I'm good.
There we go.
Come down a little bit. Keep going. Okay. You ever strip one of those out? You can't get to them.
Nowhere, huh? Wow.
You know how I know?
The hard way?
The hard way.
Yeah. Okay. This one here a little.
You guys have the Allen for? Oh, I have one right here.
You got one?
All right, that's perfect.
So we've got the front clip all bolted into place. The down bars are in. We start hanging suspension. From there, we'll take some measurements and square everything up and then move on to the rear.
Whatever height is better
Tell
for
me
you.
where you want it, Jabe.
Are you a tall guy? I'm a short guy.
It's you. Good.
Perfect.
Luis,
Yes, sir.
has anyone told you today how good you're doing?
Nope, not yet.
There's a reason for it.
I know.
You're doing outstanding, that's why.
It's Monday.
Got it.
Yep.
All right.
Saw how fast I went?
All right, Christian, coming in with coil, ready?
Oh, you're coming in with a coil? All right. Can hang it.
Boom.
You want the bolt to the bottom or to the top?
Go from the other way.
Bottom?
That's the way I would do it.
Okay. There we go. Just like that. Here's the nut. Okay.
And that's a 7/8.
Okay.
Rack and pinions going in. Really making this thing more modern.
Yep.
Getting rid of the steering, ditching the steering box,
Oh yeah.
bringing in the rack.
You want to use the impact?
Ah, man, dude, I'm getting your muscles on today.
Uh-huh.
She's gonna be happy. Why is it taking so long?
You know what's taking so long? There's a new team member. I'm not gonna say which one's the new one. So right now we're just leveling off the front end. We leveled it off, zeroed it out under the chassis where it was flat, and now we're just doing the same over here. 0.3, 0.1. Hold on, right there. Perfect.
So we have a 9-inch axle here that we just cleaned off the gasket surface. We're gonna actually put the third member in. I'm gonna put some Right Stuff silicone down on the housing first, then put the gasket on, then put a little slight layer on the gasket, and then put the center section in.
All right, so time to put the front brakes on, starting with the brackets. Okay, so we're gonna preload these. I'm just gonna tighten this up some, just to get the grease from the bearing so everything seats properly. And then we'll do a preload on it. So as I tighten it, spin it. Okay, there you go. Feels good. Now we're gonna do a rotor caliper. So, I'm not sure which one I need. Yep, this is it. So we got the Duralast caliper here. As you can see, it's a big caliper, which goes with the 13-inch rotors. One thing we forgot to do was get it powder coated. It's raw right now. So we're gonna send this out and get it powder coated. Once it comes back, it'll look beautiful and we'll reinstall.
Get it lined up.
Yeah, right there. Wow, this side's nice. Okay.
There, washer here. This is the rear axle assembly going in. We got the brakes partially mounted already with the caliper brackets and the bearing retaining brackets.
All right.
Where's your block, Luis? These are 2-inch lowering blocks. This will lower the ride height by 2 full inches. You
Is that what the 2-inch lowering block means?
That's it.
Bring her on down. Then he's installing the brackets that's gonna hold the rear end to the leaf that will also house the shock. Okay.
Later on, this is gonna go through here, the mount. So we gotta load the suspension and get it compressed first. Because of the spring arch, it's so severe. It's holding us back right now.
I think this is enough right here.
We're gonna make sure the sway bar is centered up.
I'm gonna start at 6 on that side. There's 6 even right there. Okay.
It should line up. It's adjustable, but line up the body on the outside, like square. It'll make it look pretty.
All right, guys, so we're wrapping up day 1. Front suspension's done, brakes are on there. They're back there just doing a few things with the rear sway bar. Other than that, all the rear suspension and brakes are finished up other than plumbing. So we're gonna get home, get back here tomorrow morning and start all over again. All right, guys, so it's day 2 of the Duralast Week to Wicked presented by CPP, and behind me, the guys are running the brake lines to complete the brake system. From there, we got an engine and trans, clutch, accessory drive. That way we can drop all that into the chassis, measure for a drive shaft, and do a fuel system. So that being said, I'm gonna get back to work and get at it.
We are running all our brake lines, our tabs, flex hoses, butting all that up. That way we can have everything plumbed.
Trying to finishing up those brake lines on the rear and try to make sure everything is tight, to make sure there's no leaks and the symmetrical of the lines, you know, and it's just a couple of things that gotta take care of it.
All right, so it's time to do the Holley accessory drive. This is the water pump. It actually houses all the accessories on it. It's got the bracketry all in the cast. So if you ever have to change your water pump out, you don't change the whole housing. You actually just change the pump itself, which makes it super simple. So it comes with a gasket. Place your gasket on there, and we'll start assembling the pump now. There you go. All right, gaskets are installed. Let's go ahead and install the pump to the engine. So we have outlets for water here and underneath here, just depending on your application. We're gonna plug up the bottoms and then use these for our heater. So the kit includes the power steering pump. Like I said, it's a complete kit. This one has a reservoir connected already to the pump itself. With our application, it's not gonna fit because of our tight quarters. So we're gonna have to run this pump, which we got from Duralast, and it will house a remote reservoir. That way we can get the fluid in there and we'll have room for everything. All right. This little tool, it's a lifesaver. Duralast sent this over for us to install this here pulley. And I'm gonna go over here just so I can see how far I need to go with it so it lines up properly. Everything's lined up. So a few hand tools and 30 minutes. Accessory drive's installed. Now it's just time to get the engine into the car.
All right, so here's the new wiring. I have labeled everything outside the car. We also wrapped the wiring in loom. It's a lot easier outside the car than being inside in tight quarters. We also ran some extra wiring for different systems that we're gonna be using with the car. Definitely upgrades. So looks nice compared to the old stuff. It doesn't look too shabby, but it's definitely an upgrade. So I'm gonna grab this and go ahead and install it. All right, so we're gonna route everything in its original place. That's the cool thing about this little harness here. So go ahead and get busy, guys. I'll catch you when I'm done. Hopefully I don't get shot.
All right, so we're about to put the sending unit into the new fuel tank. It's real basic. We just made a couple of adjustments on the length. It's got some screws. You loosen, adjust, get the length right so that the bottom of the tank is here, top of the tank's up there. Tape measure, very simple. It drops into the hole. Again, really simple, fish it through. There's a gasket under my fingers. This is gonna go down. All 5 holes are gonna line up on the top of the sending unit. There's a little index mark to help you know which way you're set up. Gaskets are there, and we just thread in some screws from this point on.
All right, so I just installed the pilot bearing into the crank. There are 2 different pilot bearings. There's one that actually comes out here, and then there's another one that sits in the second step. So you gotta measure your output shaft on your transmission to figure out which one you need. This is part of the bell housing from QuickTime. Be sure you install this before you put the flywheel on there. I've done it both ways, and it kind of sucks when you get everything assembled and then you gotta disassemble it to put this back on there. So now that that's on there, we can go ahead and put our flywheel on there. All right, so we're gonna use a dual disc setup from Spec, and everything's marked on here also, and I'll show you that once we get to the pressure plate. So let's put our centering tool in, get that into the pilot bearing. Now we'll kind of hold that in place. I've actually marked it myself a little bit. Just makes me a little more comfortable. So I got my mark there, and then we're gonna line up this yellow one to the pressure plate. Make sure your centering tool's still in the pilot bearing. And then go ahead and start getting these fastened. Duralast was kind enough to actually send us a few tools to try out, and this is their torque wrench. We just finished up the engine. We're gonna put the hydraulic bearing on the transmission, take a couple measurements, make sure we don't need to shim the bearing to reach the fingers of the pressure plate, mate the two, install it in the car.
Put that up there, help guide it in. I'm gonna go up with the jack.
Up.
All right, so right now we're installing the adjustable motor mounts from CPP. So you can actually move the engine backwards or forward if you need it. So you can also flip the plate if you need to go a lot more forward, which is kind of cool.
All right, so we're gonna end up mounting that pressure regulator right there. Do that a little bit later. Right now, the fittings are loose, but we got them all tight on the tank. We just want to give this a final once over and make sure that the position is just right before we move it around.
You don't want to tighten these up either, you want to leave them loose. That way you know where you'll make your adjustment.
We're gonna lower the car.
Well, unless you got a better way of doing this.
Now if you want to get crushed.
Go ahead.
Careful.
Okay, go up a little bit. We're gonna have to tilt it.
All right.
Go ahead, go up. Okay, now in. Now down. Now we got all kinds of room.
Okay.
Watch the oil pan.
Okay, jack it up in the rear a little bit if you can.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got it happening, but we can try to go. There you go.
There you go. Gary, you can come up.
All right, so we're wrapping up day 2, and to say it was a productive day is an understatement. Both teams actually came in and killed it, finished all the brake plumbing. Christian did some wiring.
Yeah, I got the wiring all inside the cab, ran to the back, out to the front. CPP guys installed the tank, so
Yeah,
that was
looking good. Clutch is in, fine-tuned the bearing, and obviously the biggest change of the day is engine trans were actually installed,
Yep.
measured for a drive shaft. So we're gonna cut out a little bit early, get some rest, come back tomorrow, and start all over.
Let's go.
So it's day 3 of our Duralast Week to Wicked presented by CPP. The guys back here are just wrapping up the throttle cable for the fuel injection. The FITECH guys are gonna be in soon to help out. And last week we had the engine over at West Tech. Steve's doing a little dyno tuning, so let's check that out. All right, Steve, so we got the FITECH all set up. What are our first steps here? What are we doing?
Well, we've got it all programmed with the handheld, and basically what we're doing right now is I'm just breaking the engine in and also letting the EFI go through a learn cycle, so it's got kind of cycling up and down.
So I think these are rated to 6.2. The rate, they're like 430.
The LS3 is rated at 430. I've heard a lot of rumors that they make more than that, so it'll be interesting to see.
And again, you know, if it makes over 430 horsepower, I mean, that's all good stuff there.
It's all a bonus after that.
That's right. $6,900, not bad. Sounds good too.
Isn't it absolutely surprising what Chevrolet has done with this LS series engine? I mean, you have a crate engine rebuild, and it's a 7,000 RPM engine virtually.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible.
And it also makes 488 horsepower.
Unbelievable.
So it's 50 better than what it's rated, and revs
Yep.
to 7,000. I think that's a win all the way around.
Absolutely. With some bolt-on parts, I mean, look at it go. It idles smoothly. It sounds great all the way through the power curve. So
Yeah, it's really impressive.
yeah, well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Now I know we can put it in the car, and it did run first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially when you got 5 days to do the car. It makes it a little bit more comfortable.
You don't need any glitches in the program.
Yeah.
All right, so right now, me and Louie, we're mocking up the E-stop. It's gonna end up in the trunk, and we decided to put it right behind with the seat mounts. That way there's no interference whenever we have to load up the trunk or anything like that. And also e-brake cables have a nice routing radius to go down to the bottom of the trunk floor, out of it, and into the e-brakes. Better make it rain, brah. Louis, do you guys bring grommets? Bring? We didn't have enough. All right, I'm gonna go ask Danny.
We're gonna lay out this booster under the firewall so we can mark some holes that we have to drill. We make you bolt-in kit, but this is a change because we're doing this big inner fender kit. And the other kit, the factory location for the booster is offset towards the tire, but we're actually pushing the inner fender in towards the booster, so we have to switch this to a 6874 Nova, which means we have to drill 2 holes.
So it used to be an automatic car, now that we have a manual trans, we're just converting over, using the same bracket, but putting the 2 pedals on. This is the starter provided by Duralast. As you can see, it's super small, but it's got a lot of torque, so it'll be perfect for this application.
All right, so once we installed the wiring harness into the car, I went ahead and installed the control box and the GPS box from DAKOTA Digital. And here you run all your power, your grounds, key on, constant, turn signals, oil pressure, and all that good stuff. So this is actually the control center that sends all the information to your gauges and gives you all the information you need.
Okay, ready, Luis?
Ready.
Here you go, buddy. 1 steering column, as ordered. All right. Plenty of clearance.
This is where we drilled it at, so must be right.
So we're wrapping up day 3. Gauges have been installed, FITECH guys have come and gone. Steering's all done. Got the brakes wrapped up. So that being said, we're gonna get home, get some rest, get back at it tomorrow. All right, so it is day 4 of our Duralast Week to Wicked presented by CPP. And we got a bunch of good stuff going on today. Core support, radiator, all the plumbing up there. We got to still get the hydro stop all plumbed in also. So Christian's inside right now running some cables for the battery. So with that being said, we're gonna get busy with our day and see if we can stay on track. Since we are pretty tight down below, we have the shifter out, so we're gonna do a little low car conversion, which we'll show you in a second, but we might as well fill the transmission up now, it's much easier. We're gonna replace this shifter ball socket with the new low car one. It's got a spline top end on it, but this is gonna allow us to offset it, swivel it, and get it into a comfortable position for driving.
So we've moved the battery to the rear, gives us a lot more room up in the engine bay. So right now we are gonna start making some battery wire. We're gonna ground it out right here in the trunk. It's already got a stud going to the frame, and then we're gonna run our hot all the way up to the starter.
So this thing can be switched around. So right now it's really throwing it offset. You can actually place it so it's centered.
So you can tighten it.
And then we'll be able to loosen these up, and this will swivel also, so you can really fine tune your grip. But we'll do that once the seat's in there. That way we can really position it where it's really comfortable. But yeah, it's a pretty tricky unit. And this will do straights, 30s, 180s, 120s, just like that.
So this is a custom reservoir we made for this new big inner fender panel. This is going to work with the new core support system and the radiator that we have over there. It's pretty custom stuff. So there's a blind fastener that you can't get to back here. There's a speed net that's going to clip on. And we just use some tape and a pin and laid out a mark directly above the center of the hole. Put the tape on the fender, transferred that mark across the top of the fender so we can see where to go. Then measured down the distance from here to the hole, lined it all up, and Jason was good. He got lucky. I don't know which it is, but it lines up. The two pieces go in, all the holes match, and when we're done, that's the overflow for the radiator and the inner fender.
So United Pacific hooked us up with some LED taillights, and that's what I'm gonna do now. It's pretty straightforward. Take off the old lenses. So the LED ones actually will plug in straight into that. Makes it a lot easier.
Okay. There's my knuckles.
Okay, I'm good over here.
Okay. Just come back a little bit more. Keep coming, right there. Okay, let's get that bottom one in. How's that? Oh yeah, you're clear.
You clear? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, this one you just lift up a little, boom. So we can do that now. And then this one needs to go back a little and up the same. Oh yeah, this one lines right up too.
I want to see Danny with long hair.
While everybody else screws around, I'm planning on the next move on this car. What it is, I don't know. Where we'll be, I'm not sure. Will it happen? Yes. When? I don't know. So don't ask. But eventually, I'll be spinning the tires and making smoke and calling that Week to Wicked sayonara.
Got it?
Yep.
You guys got the, oh, here's the.
I got my side.
Good.
These buckets.
Beautiful.
It looks like OC Driveline did a heck of a job again making that fit.
So we're wrapping up day 4. The guys are still working a little bit back there. Christian's just finishing up some wiring. Danny was over there just tightening up the core support. He got the front end back on the car, which is good. Relocated the battery to the trunk, ran the battery cables all the way forward. So everything is looking good. Hydro stop's all plumbed. We're on track, I think, for day 5. Wrap the car up. So we're gonna spend about another hour and we'll get out of here. All right, so it's day 5 of the Duralast Week to Wicked presented by CPP, and we got a bunch of small things to do today. Starting with the bright work, Christian's wrapping up some things up there in the headlight area. We got the guys in the back working on the fuel system. One big thing we have to do is the exhaust. So it is day 5. We are wrapping this car up today. We are gonna do a burnout. So with that being said, let's get to work. That side we've already got almost perfect. So you know what, take this one out and let's put yours in, because I think yours is the right one. Keep going. Keep going.
Doing some wiring, headlights, turn signals, main power, whole lot of fun stuff.
Okay.
If we just go up in the back, you could use this and just put a little tab sideways. So make sure the mufflers are square. That's what this is for.
There we go. So we got the exhaust all in there securely. Now we're moving on to a fuel line. Get that ran up front. And once Christian finishes the wiring, we'll be able to start the car. Wiring's been going on for 3 days now.
Pretend there's a fire. Oh, fire! All right, so here we have our United Pacific high-powered 7-inch headlight. It's 1600 lumens on high beam and 1020 on low beam. So you're definitely gonna see in front of you at night. Literally plugs right in. Just right here, here's our plug. High beam, low beam, and ground. Just like that. Tuck her on in. And you put your screws in and you're done. And then you have light. Pretty cool.
Bubble.
All right, time to put the front end together.
Bubble.
Let's not scratch that.
Yeah.
Fuel in there? Okay. And it is a small transfer hole, so probably not.
Everything's plugged up, right? No.
I don't hear a second puddle yet. Nope, we're filling.
Here I come.
Several, yeah. Apparently you need this in between the pump and the pulley in order for it not to leak. Just a piece of rubber, why would you think that would work? I'm in the right spot.
Did you grab one of these before?
There it comes. Perfect.
Okay. All right, so right now we're gonna connect the battery. We actually did. Nothing happened. Why? Because I didn't have any fuses in there. That's what I'm doing now. And then we're gonna check all our hots. Make sure everything's dandy.
Turn the key. There we go. Something.
Yes! Gauges turned on, GPS turned on. We have power.
We're only using one fan switch. AC's not hooked up yet. But when it does, it'll turn on fan 1. No RPM. Oh, I know. You're on the wrong key wire still. Oh yeah, it's a pedal and the angle, isn't it? Where's the key?
That's what I was looking for.
All right, tell me when.
When? Just let it chill for a bit.
Try to what?
That one. Where? Yeah. All right, man, and here we go. Making our way out. It's been a good 5 days of work. Stayed on schedule. CPP team killed it. Christian nailed it. There's only one thing left to do.